Custom tactics. With hundreds of formations, custom tactics, and player instructions, EA Sports have left us with the opportunity to play a style similar to Pep Guardiola and his hand gestures.
But until now, guys, I am the boss.
Or, But one aspect of custom tactics which personally I find is a problem. It's the oversaturation of YouTube content outlining what custom tactics you should use. Get Elite 1 with these tactics. Play like a pro with these player instructions. And the sad thing is, all this does is leave a lot of people with false hope, especially if those custom tactics specifically don't work for that individual. It's kind of like social media influencers, and in particular, bodybuilders, which is giving people false hope of what they can actually achieve as a body image naturally, because in reality, a lot of the time they are using performance enhancing drugs. This gives a lot of the younger generation a false sense of what is achievable, and when their results are not reflective of the influences that they follow, it can in turn leave the person feeling worse than what they did before they started.
So eat like this to look like this, of course, men's health.
And yes, this is an analogy, but I think this resonates with the custom tactics situation in the FIFA community. And yes, I'm not saying that tactics that you have used from a specific YouTuber or pro player may not have worked for you. They may have. And yes, there are benefits to having an oversaturation of custom tactics because they give people a good baseline to work off. But in my opinion, that is all they should be good for. My point is, I believe for someone to climb the ranks and get to that next level, they need to develop their own game style and their own custom tactics.
Follow your instinct. Follow what you like to do and do it.
That is why I'm here today to give you guys a baseline of what to use for custom tactics in FIFA 23. I'm not going to give you specific tactics, but all I'm going to do is give you formations that I recommend because of the actual setup and their lineup, as well as the type of tactics that you want to adjust and trial for yourself as you develop your own game style. Now, first of all, we're going to jump into formation. Personally, I like balanced formations and formations that allow us to attack with a bit of versatility, if you know what I mean. So formations that essentially allow us to attack up the center or attack up the wing. These include the 4-2-3-1, the 4-2-2-2, the 4-3-3, anything that allows us to go central but also use the width if need be. I have never been a fan of using a formation which solely is designed for a specific style of play, whether that's up the center, including let's say the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, or potentially the 4-2-4, which is designed more for wing play. Expanding on this, I do recommend having a formation with at least 2 CDMs. And the reason for this is simply because when you have 2 CDMs, they are there to break up the play if you do lose the ball. And you have the option of maybe getting one forward, but also having one back. So you have that versatility there, even though I highly recommend having both of them back on stay back while attacking. And we're going to get into that in the player instructions segment, but the point of the moral of the story is you should be using, in my opinion, a formation that has 2 CDMs to allow you to break up the play. We're then moving to custom tactics. Now, I am going to give you, again, a baseline of what you guys should use. Not too much width and not too much depth, and not too less width or too less depth. What I mean by that is you should have a balanced depth and width that allows you to also have players back, but press them at the same time. Now, personally, I'm a player that does like to press higher up the pitch. So my depth in both the attack and defense might be a little bit higher. And that's because I defend similar to MS-DOS. We both right stick switch, we both press high up the pitch and try and get the ball back as quick as we can, just like, let's say, Pep Guardiola. But then you have players including Nicholas 99FC, and you may defend like him, where he sits back a little bit more. He will be more preserved. He will run in the path of the passing lanes and then approach the attacker on the ball, rather than just approaching them straight off the bat like MS-DOS and myself do. That is exactly why you should always tailor your custom tactics to how you play. Because if you defend a similar way to MS-DOS, you need to adjust them to your liking, maybe a little bit higher up the pitch. And then if you defend similar to Nicholas, then maybe you need a little bit lower depth. In terms of width also, this will obviously depend if you are a player who does like attacking up the center more than the wing, and that will simply make you have your depth a little bit narrower. Or you might be a player that essentially likes to attack up the wing. So you should adjust it to your liking and see how much width you actually need to be able to attack up the wing in a profound way so that it suits your play style. Again, we're adjusting tactics to our play style, and we're basically trial and erroring what works for us. Because let's put it simply, what works for me may not work for you. We have different game styles, we play differently, which means we need to adjust, trial and error, and basically determine and make our own custom tactics. We then move into defensive styles as well as attacking styles. This again will determine how you like to play in FIFA. Are you someone that likes getting up the pitch quickly and counter-attacking? Maybe forward runs is for you. Are you a possession style player? Do you like keeping the ball a bit more? And do you like players dropping into positions to receive the ball compared to other styles of attack, whether it's getting forward or direct passing? Maybe have it on possession. It really depends how you guys play and your play style. Direct passing, yet again, it's a tactic that essentially makes players drop into space to receive the ball and come towards you, so that you can pass directly to them away from the defender. You then might have balanced, which is what I like, and basically players will stick to their positions. It really depends, yet again, I said it before, I'll say it once again, depends how you guys like to play. And thus, you need to determine what tactics are best suited for your game style. In terms of build-up play, again, are you someone that likes to slow things down? Do you like to be quick in your build-up and get forward? Or do you like through balling? It really depends what style of play you are in terms of what tactic you will select. And this is something you need to trial and error to see what works best for you. And in terms of defensive style, again, it's a similar situation. Personally, I like players sitting in their positions defensively on balance, but you might be someone that likes to win the ball back quickly and haven't yet quite got right stick switching down pat. So you might need to have pressure after possession loss activated to help you defend in those situations higher up the pitch, or you might need constant pressure in certain game situations. Yet again, it's really dependent on how you play and your game style, and you guys need to play around and determine that. And again, are you happy with how your formation sets up? Are there enough players back with the specific formation that you have? Are you running the 4-2-3-1, which has 2 CDMs, which means you can have more players in the box? Again, it really depends on what you guys want to do in the game, and that's why you need to determine what works for you, play around with it, and essentially determine your own custom tactics. We then have, of course, instructions. It's something where I can give you guys a baseline, but if there's a specific movement that you want your player doing in terms of attacking or in the defense, then it's something you guys need to trial and error and play around with. Are you happy with how your winger sits out so wide, or do you want him coming inside to receive the ball because you like passing in that specific section of the pitch? Again, it's something that you might want to do, but I don't. So I don't want my player coming from the wing inside on make a narrow run. No, I want them out wide and I want them getting in behind. Again, it's something that you guys need to determine. Now for a baseline, again, I'll say those CDMs, have them on stay back. Super important, because you want to have your CDMs coming back and essentially breaking up the play. You have your wing bats as well. Your wing bats can be on stay back while attacking, or they can be on overlap because you may want more attacking options forwards, which I like. I have my wing back on overlap, but you guys might be, let's say, vulnerable in the defense and you haven't quite worked on your right stick switching, so you need him back. So change that to stay back. Or you might want him on mixed. Sometimes make it a run, sometimes not. It really depends what you guys actually want in your attacking game. Do you want one of your midfielders getting forward if you may be using the 4-3-3 and one of the CMs that you have are essentially more attacking minded, so you want them getting forward up towards the goal to give an attacking option? Maybe have them get forward, but is it something I'd have? Probably not. I would personally want him coming back on the defense, and I know how to trigger him. I know how to make them run forward. So personally for me, I wouldn't have him on get forward, but you do. You might. And this yet again proves my point as to why you guys should play around with tactics and discover your own play style. For your attackers, it really depends. If it's a single striker formation, I like them on getting behind because they make runs along the line. But you might want him coming forward to receive a pass, which is fine, but it really depends how you want him to play. In terms of wingers, I like to have them on balanced because I find their positioning as a winger is always great in those situations. But that is a quick summary of custom tactics, and in my opinion, the only custom tactic video you guys need to ever watch. And yes, I'm going to do updated custom tactics videos because I want you guys to see what I'm using. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you guys what you want to use. You need to trial and error and see what works for you. That, however, is going to signal the end of it on coaching one-on-one on patreon.com. If you want help, let's say from me, in determining your custom tactics and helping you discover your own play style, join the academy. Link is down below. I can coach you guys one-on-one, of course. Follow on Instagram as well. Keep in touch with the No Money Spent road to an event. What a series that is. Okay, but as always, I hope you guys have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara. Au revoir. Adios. Slum ciao. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And lastly, if you do want any pre-gaming fuel or supplement, then head over to atpscience.com, which is the first link in the description, and use the code AussieFIFA at checkout to get yourself a discount. Not only is it the cheapest way to get supplements, but it helps me out a ton, guys, so thank you.